Hey, man. Sorry. Just got here in time. Hey, why is it so dark in here? What are you wearing around your mouth? Wait, what? What? No, 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 no!
A Festivus for the rest of us.
What's up, Packamaniacs? Boy, do we have a surprise for you today. The two sexiest accents in the hobby have hijacked the PTTF feed for some holiday festivities. I'm Boston Steve, here with my main man, Hugo. You might know him as the man who hosted the McAllisters during the holidays. He's also your favorite French collector who the boys bring in to translate those Italian inserts from Noir. Hugo, how you doing, my man?
I'm doing well, Steve. How have you been?
I'm doing all right. I'm sipping on some fine quality H2O over here. What are you sipping on?
I'm sipping on some fine 12 years old Knob Creek. That was the perfect occasion to open that bottle.
I like it. I think, it shows a little bit of normally I'd be sipping on something too, but, dry out a little bit before the holidays, but it shows our personality well. I'm trying to be conservative. You're trying to be classy, but.
And I'm up
all right, should we run through the agenda, let these people know what they're up to for the day, and then we'll get started with this here?
Absolutely. They're not ready for this episode, and I'm really excited about that, actually.
Are we ready for it, though? I don't know what we're going to do here. We did tie up Chad and Ricky and threw them in the basement with the dogs. There's no cameras down there, so we're also going to host a party and not let them out, because apparently that's what you do at Chad's house. So agenda for today, give these people a little look behind the scenes. We have a holiday-themed party for you all today, a little different holiday theme. Our main segment, we're gonna do the holiday Festivus celebration. And for those of you that don't know what Festivus is, we'll get you up to speed. Don't worry about that. But before we do that, Hugo and I are going to give you guys all a little update. We were on the show. I don't know when, Hugo, because I don't know if you've been to the PTTF podcast website. So everybody go do your affiliate links, all that, blah, 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 right? It's there.
Even though we're not getting a commission.
Yeah, no, we're getting nothing. So instead, if you just want to figure out what the ratio would be, you guys can just PayPal us a few bucks on the side for whatever the affiliate links are. Yeah. But if you go to their show archive, Hugo, it says every episode was aired in March of 2024 because of whatever happened with their feed. But you and I were back on season 1, episode 130. You and I took over in a much less hostile act, but we took over back then. So we're going to give a little update. Then we're going to go into new products, respect to Mrs. Doc, who's sort of hopped on. We want to keep with that flow a little bit. And then we'll jump into our Festivus festival and have a good time with that. So why don't we start with you, Hugo? Tell the audience what their favorite French collector's been up to, and just plug anything you want.
Yes. So it's very presumptuous to say I'm their favorite French collector, but I'll take
You're my favorite French collector, and I'm really the only one that matters right now because it's just the two of us.
You're absolutely right, Steve. Thank you for the great sentiment. So let's go back to why is it the only second time that you and I are hosting a podcast? You're much more experienced than I am when it comes to recording. You have great flow. You've got a very sexy accent. Everybody knows that. I don't know. I think we should be, a reoccurring guest for sure. 2 years ago, we started. I mean, every 2 years, I really want to launch my podcast career. You're often on Wax Museum podcast. I've never been invited, so Kyle, please take notes. I think I know why. First of all, my football team is better than his, but I really think that he feels threatened by our bromance, because we've had a bromance in the making. We're just taking our time, you and I. So I think that's probably why I was never invited to his show. But I digress. What have I been up to? I mean, 2024 has been a great year as far as collecting, grabbing some meaningful cards for the collection. Still collecting Andre Johnson, Willie Cauley-Stein, former Kentucky Wildcats great. A little bit of Tony Parker as well, even though I've taken a step back. But it's been a great year. If you follow my account on Instagram, you'll see what I've been able to acquire in 2024. Definitely a great year, better than 2023. I would argue better than 2022 as well. So I'm very happy when it comes to that. What about you, Steve?
First of all, I'm a little taken back with how forward you were with that bromance thing. I don't know if we're on the same level with our comfort of that, Hugh, so we might need to talk offline of that. No, for me, at S. Howley 2003, which sidebar, so people make fun of my name thinking it's Sholey. It's actually just my initial and my last name. But I was listening to some AI thing, like my login didn't work at work or something, and the AI generator or Siri or whatever it was that was yelling at me called me Sholey because it said my work email Sholey wasn't working. I've been a little burnt out on the hobby as far as like modern stuff. I completed a few big goals, collecting goals in 2023. I'm a big Boston fan, but recently I've been doing a lot more pop culture stuff, WNBA stuff, collecting with my kids, stuff that's been lower value, more fun. Definitely the mail days are a lot less than they used to be, but having fun. But I think more so the grievances that I have kind of led us to this point. So we'll get to that, but I tend to be saying some more negative things recently than some positive things. But overall, I mean, loving the hobby space and going to card shows and everything like that. Just haven't been diving into a lot of product recently. Which, with that said, why don't we do the new product section? I think that was a very professional transfer there from one segment to another. I gotta give myself credit. I mean, like a little pro-am action here.
Experience is talking right now. Segues are on point.
Big market tease, does that even work? So new product. So like we said, we want to give some respect to what Mrs. Doc's been doing and how the show's been running with the new format. My updates and new products, I did my research. I don't care about any of them, and I have nothing to say about them. They bore me, and I'm not going to buy any of them. So I'm going to pass the buck to you, Hugo. Anything coming out recently that's jiving with your taste, or are you sort of just burnt out on this whole end of the Panini era, start of the Fanatics era that's just being pushed down our throats?
I mean, it's great that you mentioned that because I feel the same way about new releases as you. I have no interest in it. Might change if I decide to pursue a new project, a new PC, new sports. I don't know, but right now I couldn't care less, and I share that sentiment. I'm feeling burnt out at times, especially when it comes to product releases.
And it's the value isn't there either, right? Like I'm not one to do breaking. I'm not one to I did enjoy what got me back in the hobby was busting wax, and I went all old guy and had a early midlife crisis and bought a box of 92, 93 Stadium Club on Amazon's. I think it was Series 2 for $25, and I hit a Jordan Beam team. And then I was hooked from there, and I was, you could buy wax. I know, old guy yelling at clouds type thing here, but when you could buy wax and you could get a quality product for $60 to $150, it was fun. But you can't do that anymore. So I honestly, I'm not even trying to be cranky old guy. I just don't follow the new releases as much because I know I'm not going to be buying them. If I do buy stuff, it'll be singles. So just kind of watch the singles hit eBay or just Instagram feeds, see what my friends are picking up, and sometimes just sort of hop on those bandwagons.
I'm like you, and I feel that new releases don't really target collectors or guys like you and I. So I'm more than happy to do what you just mentioned. Hey,
Yeah.
if there's a player, let's see what gets out there on eBay or social media, but I'm not getting NC or ready to pull any triggers.
And so I just realized, not in our show notes, that this means Mrs. Doc has a lot of work in front of her because the next time the guys are going to be on, they're going to be doing the Secret Santa. Then they have us. They're not going to be doing a new episode till the new year. So Mrs. Doc, I'm sorry, you've got about a month's worth of research here because we did not pick up the slack for you. So I know you love a good accent though, so I'm sure you're all right with that. All right, Hugo, Festivus, the Festivus for the rest of us. Now, talking about another great, by the way, another great, transition here when I talked about being an old guy. There's a lot of the audience that I'm sure has never seen an episode of Seinfeld, which is, sort of the genesis of my knowledge of Festivus. So let's take a step back, and I might educate you here, Hugo. I know you've, seen the show notes, but Festivus is a well-known part of the Seinfeld metaverse, but it wasn't actually invented in Seinfeld. Festivus is a holiday that was created by writer Daniel O'Keefe back in 1966 with a theme of going against the commercial pressure of the Christmas season, right? So it's sort of an anti-Christmas. It's instead of being all joyful, you air your grievances. Instead of all the festivities of lights, you have an unadorned aluminum pole that you put up in the living room. And so for tonight's theme, we're going to host a hobby Festivus. We are going to use the Seinfeld's method of Festivus. So any of you that want to, do some internet research and learn about Festivus clocks and everything else that family might have done, you can go pound sand and yell to the clouds with me as I'm yelling at fanatics. But we're going to use the Seinfeld theme, which Daniel O'Keefe, like I said, brought it to his family. His son, Dan O'Keefe, was a writer for Seinfeld. So he brought it to the popular, I don't know, what, late 80s through late 90s, right? I think they went for like 9 seasons or so through the 80s and 90s. Mm-hmm. One of the characters there, Frank Costanza, was, brought his family up the way Dan's family brought him up, celebrating Festivus. So three key aspects of Festivus, right? So you sit down to a holiday dinner like you would at a lot of traditional holidays in the United States. You don't give gifts though. No. At the end of the dinner, you air your grievances. So that is letting everyone at the dinner table know all the ways they have disappointed you throughout the previous year. You really let them have it. And everyone goes around and airs their grievances with each other. And Hugo, I heard you air a grievance earlier with Wax Museum Kyle there for not inviting you on. It's that. You really let people know the pain and the frustration they felt with you. And you wrap up airing of the grievances and you go to feats of strength, right? And feats of strength is the head of the table, the head of the household, challenges anyone of his or her desire to a wrestling match. And that feats of strength continue until the head of the household gets pinned. And then it wraps up with, throughout the evening, you declare your Festivus miracles, which are overjoyous celebrations of the simple things of life, the stuff that people should be able to figure out on their own, but just can't get there. So tonight, Hugo and I are going to give you guys our airings of grievances. We have a lot of issues with this hobby, and we're going to let you guys know about it. We're going to go to a cardboard feats of strength, which, Hugo, you and I don't know, we haven't talked about this, but we're basically going to flex 2 or 3 of our favorite cards at each other. Maybe we'll have Chad and Ricky see if they can put out a poll afterwards to see who won that wrestling match. People can vote on who brought the most heat with our cardboard here. And then as we go at the end, maybe we'll come up with some Festivus miracles that we hope to see happen. We'll leave a positive taste in their mouths, I think, Hugo, as we wrap things up, and we'll give some Festivus miracles that we hope to see happen in the upcoming hobby year. So that's my agenda or my notes that I have in the background of Festivus there, Hugo. But please, what are you thinking as far as we should be bringing to the table, or did I cover it all there for you?
No, I think you did a phenomenal job as always, Steve. See, I'm trying to get some brownie points or whatnot. You're asking a lot from me to end the show on a positive note, because French people tend to be very pessimistic and cautious. But I promise you that I'll do my best, and I plan on not disappointing anybody.
And I'm a cranky Bostonian, so that's why we get along so well. So, well, why don't you pour yourself another drink? We'll get into some grievances here. So, Hugo, I'm going to let you just run through. I mean, I want to hear from you. Like, we have a lot of issues with this hobby, the sports culture in general. Why don't you let the audience know what some of your issues are here, and maybe I'll either tell you you're full of crap at the end or agree with you. But you take the floor for a few minutes.
The first one that came to mind, and for those who don't know, nobody should know actually, because it's between you and I via direct messaging. I've grown tired of seeing people post about anything but sports cons. It's 2024, guys. We've got Facebook, we've got TikTok, we've got Instagram. I'm following sports cons accounts. I don't really have any interest in anything that would pertain to, the elections or geopolitical conflicts. I'm not siding with either or. It's just that's not what I'm here for. Life is too stressful. We are looking for ways to enjoy our time when we're not working, getting that space to ourselves away from our family, friends, even though we love them, right? We need that me time, our time. And this is something that I'm eye rolling. You know it, Steve. You can call me out on that. I'm just sharing ridiculous posts that I see. Sometimes you've called me out, like, why are you trying to ruin my evening? And I do it because I know it's going to piss you off. But I know when you
I
stand
have
to,
said, yeah. Sometimes it'll be
it's
right after Celtics win or something. You'll send something over.
yes, I can tell when the Celtics have won because you tend to respond more positively to what I'm sending. When the outcome of the game was not what you expected, I also know the type of response that I'm going to get from you. But yeah, it's just sports content's supposed to be fun, right? I'm following sports card accounts, for great folks, uh, with really cool cards. That's what I'm interested in. So that was the serious, not so much hobby related grievance. My second one would be the emergence of unlicensed products. A lot of people, I feel that a lot of folks will have an opinion on that. They like it, they hate it, to each their own, right? Um, what I'll say is talking crap about unlicensed products just because they're unlicensed is unfair, in my opinion. Um, we've seen companies such as Leaf, President's Choice, they may not have the license, but they've released some incredible cards. I know you get some President Choices cards with amazing patches. I can't recall if you have Paul Pierce's or Kevin Garnett's, but those patches are amazing. And
Damn
to
it, Hugo,
show,
you should know my entire collection. And it's
no,
like a roll in your head, all right? I'm
I,
a little insulted here. Come on,
I
step up to the plate.
let's blame the lack of preparation then. All right. Uh, and because I want to make amend, Cal, if you're listening, I think you're spot on. Cal on his show has mentioned, sometimes you may be looking at a car that the design is just meh. So that's another reference to our good friend Tim. Uh, but if the quality of the patch, the scarcity makes up for the lack of design, to me, who I consider myself a patch game worn collector first and foremost. Those are things that I would be looking for. It's also a way, if you take that unlicensed route, you may get some really cool cards of great players for the fraction of the price for if you were to go the tops route or the Panini route, or the Fanatics route. For instance, a Steph Curry. Steph Curry is in a lot of cons if you look for Leaf. I've been looking at Tony Parker and Steph Curry auto patches. I mean, that's something that I always have in the back of my mind because that's for me an opportunity to get a Steph Curry on the low price tag, if I may say, or as a Houston Texans fan, CJ Stroud, it's really pricey to get a Panini license card. Tops, you may find some cards, sticker, or on card. Unlicensed, you can find something decently priced. So I think that just shitting on unlicensed products is just too easy and unfair overall. I really believe that. To each their own. You don't have to like what I like, but just bashing it is not what I'm going to choose to do. Now, devil's advocate, I've seen some stupid Leaf cons. I've seen some Tony Parker cons, and back of that, the background, you've got hot dogs because that's a 4th of July release. Or I've seen some Halloween pumpkin in the background. Those are stupid. But more often than not, I like what I see within licensed cons. And
I think Tony
finally,
Parker just likes
yeah,
having hot dogs thrown at his face.
I haven't asked. Now I'm gaining stronger following base. I may be able to get a hold of him because he'll see that I have 1,000 and some change followers. He might finally acknowledge me. So if he does, I'll let you know, Steve.
Thank you.
And finally, just be nice in the hobby, right? It's my main thing, especially in 2024. Just be kind. Um, you having extremely rare, expensive, and cool cards doesn't make you better than someone who's going to collect or someone who's on a budget. Collecting low end cards. Um, and I love those stories. Those posts of folks looking for a specific card. And if I make that type of post, if I'm asking the community to help or be on the lookout for a specific card, if you, for instance, Steve, I'm not so sure about you, Steve, now because there's some type of resentment that's built in over the years. But if someone reaches out and shares a card that I'm looking for, I may not even be looking for that card, but just the fact and the thought that someone took a minute or two off of their time, out of their hobby, to reach out and share with me something that they think I might consider acquiring, something that I might like. I think it's very kind, and you may have a big following base. I think you should still stick to that good etiquette and best procedure. Maybe I'm just an old fart. I'm getting there, but that was my final grievance. Just be kind, and you having 20,000 followers doesn't make you better than the rest of the community. So just be kind, be appreciative, and respectful.
Damn it, Hugo, you're going to make me look like the a-hole here, because here you come with your grievances to crap all over the hobby, and they're full of moral clauses about being kind and respectful and open-minded about different products, and I'm not going there, but I agree. I'm a big game used patch collector, so when something like Leaf or President's Choice can offer me a well-designed nameplate letter, full nameplate letter, or logo man, or iconic piece of like a Shamrock patch or something, I'm going to be interested in that. I don't need it to be licensed, and don't do what Hugo says and not what he does, and just be nice in the hobby. All right, everybody. Don't be an a-hole like me. I like a lot what you brought to the table there, Hugo. I've got two grievances written out, but as I was reading about this airing the grievances, and it said you really got to go at everyone at the table and let them know how they frustrated you in the last year. So I'm gonna go off script a little bit here, and my first grievance is to you, Panini, Topps, Fanatics. Enough with the damn rainbows, all right? Like, even as a player collector, I have no use for chasing a 40, 50, 60 card rainbow. It looks, maybe 10, 12 colors deep would look really nice in a binder or in the top loaders, but enough. Find other ways to increase the print run. Just print the stuff to the moon. I don't know, but don't enough. We're just done with the rainbows. So I'm looking at all the manufacturers. Even you want to give Leaf some credit here. I'm looking at you too, Leaf, because you guys print out a million 101s. There'll be a 101 gold French flag Spectra fireworks, and then a 101 gold vinyl Japanese flag. I mean, they'll have everything in there, and they'll all be 101s. It'll be 25 deep. So I'm looking at all you guys. Enough with the rainbows. Yep. What do you got, Hugo?
If I may add something, so now let's get rid of the Good Samaritan vibe. Now let's talk about the toxic piece of work that I can be, and you know that. But if it ain't broke, why fix it, Steve? Do you have a solution? Why would they keep doing this? Is there anything that as a community or as hobby collectors we can do to make them
No, I mean,
change?
my honest non a-hole answer is I started to see this as a player collector, especially around like the Zion time. A lot of it is, I think, geared because everything's geared so much towards the break culture now. And this makes sense, right? So the real hits are going to be the rookie golds, the rookie autos. So they have a bunch of parallels. Then breakers can get excited and be excited about a red wave or a fast break disco. It's not just all base cards. It's a really poor break quality. And I don't do breaks. I don't like them. I understand why they exist, but the Parallels to the Moon thing definitely helps the break culture. And you see that with some of the product too, where they'll have, like, people will ask, why was Jay Crowder in Revolution one year? It's, well, he played on Memphis and they needed more than just Ja Morant. So they needed to increase the Memphis Grizzlies print run during Ja's rookie year, right? So I think they're doing a lot of things to increase the breaking experience, which from a marketing perspective makes good sense. From the sustainability of the hobby and people wanting to actually own this stuff as a collectible, it doesn't make a lot of sense. So there's a balance there. And as you know, I think as the breaking culture comes or goes, or the gambling culture comes and goes, what up, Tim? We'll kind of see the ups and downs of that piece. All right.
You think it's going to finally? You think it could kill the hobby? I don't know if there's such a thing as, like, people are just going to get bored, or they'll just wake up one day and, my gosh, I've wasted so much money and time on buying stuff that are useless, and then I'm done, and we'll probably have to wait another 15, 20, 25 years for another boom in the hobby.
We study history, so we're not deemed to repeat it, right? But we're definitely feels like we've been in a sustained junk wax era, for a few years now. So I do think it's going to continue to bubble until people get bored and frustrated with the product, which grievance number 2, bored and frustrated with the product. NFL, NBA, I'm looking at the two of you. Damn, is your product unwatchable most of the time right now? And I'm gonna pass the buck to you on this one, Hugo, a little bit, because you watch a lot more of the NFL, but there's just way too many games on national TV that are unwatchable in those leagues right now. I'm a Boston Celtics fan. We just celebrated a championship parade in Boston. The team has a chance to repeat. Some nights I'm watching them just chuck up 3-pointers with the ball never even go inside the arc. They're bricking out, and they're just talented enough that they can hit more than the other team. It's not a 3-point contest. I know this has been all over social media, but it's bad. I was looking up stats the other day. I don't think there's a team in the league shooting less than an average of 33-pointers per game right now. So that means there's somewhere between 60 and 80 3-pointers being tossed up every single NBA game, whether they're good or not. I mean, Wizards and Bulls or some trash bag teams the other night combined for 75 missed threes. Nobody wants to watch that. And the NFL ain't any better, right? I was busy with the kids yesterday doing a bunch of work around the house, got some free time. I was like, oh, maybe I have a few units in a family pool riding on some games. Let me turn on the nationally broadcast games and see what's going on in the 1 o'clock hour. And it was Browns versus Chiefs. So you got one crapbag team being blown out by another elite team. And then it was Dallas, Carolina. So 2 crapbag teams with backup quarterbacks just marching up and down from the 40-yard line to the 40-yard line. I mean, unwatchable games. There's bad coaching, there's bad referee play, there's these rules where everything's a pass interference or a roughing the passer or defenseless receiver. NBA, the whistles are blowing every third possession. The NFL, it's a flag every third possession. And yes, I'm a Patriots fan, so it's every single possession they're throwing flags as we just grab and hold everybody on the rush. But I'm looking at the two leagues. Something's got to change. Viewership's down. I'm a diehard sports fan. It's about the only thing I consume. I don't watch TV. I don't know what things are streaming, a big worthy. It's rough right now. So, Hugo, anything you want to add to that before I get to my third grievance?
Yes, I mean, when you mention quality of play and watchability, when I saw the NFL, I just put pieces together, and my first reaction was, well, of course he's watching the Patriots, so it's unwatchable right now. Joke aside, yeah, it's just not fun. I feel that I could count on one hand how many games I watched this year that were fun. You had yesterday actually that Bills Lions game, which was basically a Madden video game, right? It was 48-45, I think, or 46-42. I can't recall. That was super fun. If you like defensive games, well, you can see that both defenses were just shredded or Swiss cheese. It's just not fun. You mentioned that the new rules, the penalties. You mentioned the Patriots. I mean, as a Houston Texans fan, how many penalties are against the team for false starts and whatnot? It's just not fun. If I understand that we need to protect players, right? Safety first, but you also know that football is a violent game, and so is basketball, right? At a different level, but there's a lot of contact. If you don't want to get hit, I mean, I don't know, do what I do, play golf, right? Um,
Or play
it's
soccer and just pretend you got hit.
Oh yes, yes, that's also a great alternative, and also that feeling that the league is rigged in the NFL. We know that our good friend Big Toad, Kansas City loves his Chiefs. I'm just over the Chiefs. We're going to play them next week. Uh, with or without Mahomes, I already have an idea the outcome of the game. It's not fun.
It's the Chiefs and the refs versus the Texans. So everybody get your units ready and put some money on that. But no, I hear what you're saying, and I agree with all of it. And my third grievance here, and I don't want to name names, Hugo. So I'm just gonna make up some names. So we're gonna throw this grievance out to some of the content creators out there. So let's
love it.
I don't know. Let's Brad and Dickie, I think will be the names I'll use. So let's say Brad and Dickie, right? They have a really well-attended podcast, and over the last year or so, they've decided that they also want to go live on YouTube. Awesome. Every Saturday, you listen to how great the YouTube feed is and join live, and oh my God, the comments are great, and they really make you feel like you're missing out on something. So then they say, let's pick, I don't know, let's pretend Brad and Dickie say they're going to go live every Thursday at 9:45 Eastern. Right? Let's just pretend that that's the situation. You know what really grinds my gears? Is when chumps like them don't actually show up every day at 9:45 p.m. Eastern, but then every Saturday they tell you how you missed out all the good times. Now that feed might all of a sudden show up to 6 p.m. on a Wednesday or 2 a.m. from Las Vegas some Saturday. Who even knows, right? So I'm giving a little grievance with all the content creators out there that act like our schedules don't matter and they have no respect. And it'd probably be a Festivus miracle if Brad and Dickie ever actually logged on the live stream one night at 9:45 p.m. Eastern on a Thursday. I don't think it's happened at all. So there's my third grievance out there. I'm taking everybody down with me. Anything you want to add to that, Hugo, or anything you want to wrap up with our grievances here as we show our true personalities?
You're spot on. I mean, if I had wheels, I'd be a bicycle. It's that level of commitment and punctuality that we've seen from some of those content creators, late content creators, if I may say. But that's it.
All right. So now dinner's ended. We've aired our grievances. We're really enjoying the holiday. We're feeling good about things, and now it's time for the feats of strength. It's time for the head of the household to challenge anyone around the dinner table to a wrestling match. And here we go. I didn't put it in our notes. I was thinking, how do we do this, right? Like, if we really want to honor the Festivus traditions and do right by the people that came before us and laid down these wonderful, wonderful festivities. And I was thinking we could emotionally go at each other, really just take jabs at each other, see who draws the first tear, really tear each other apart. But we don't. Just a little behind the scenes. I'm on a laptop from, I think, 2016. I bought it. It hardly works. You're on an iPad. I can't see if you're crying, right? So that's not going to work.
No.
So we're gonna battle each other with some cardboards. We each brought 3 cards to the table. I'll let you go first. We're going to alternate, and this is really just a fun way to show off some of our collection, let people know us a little bit better. But like I said, maybe there's some way that we can figure out who wins this battle at the end. We'll do a little poll. Maybe Chad and Ricky or Brad and Dickie, if they wanted to, we can let them in too if they want to post a poll for us. But
you know what, they can edit it.
Yeah, they'll just edit this all out and pretend that this never happened, which that's the power that they have. So that's why they get those big affiliate bucks. All right. So like I said, I don't know if they're going to use the video, but people are going to have trouble seeing the card, but this is in audio format. So let's remind ourselves of that. So let's go one card at a time, alternating. Make sure you give a good verbal description of the card as well, so people know what you're sharing. So what's the first power move you're sending my way, my friend?
So power move, and my first card is a tribute to you because I know how much you've been enjoying pop culture cards. Okay. So that's one of my favorite cards actually. That's a card that means a lot to me. It's a 20, let's see, 2008 Donruss Americana. And this card is from the Hollywood Icons set. And this card is a celebrity cut of the one and only Steve McQueen. So, who is Steve McQueen? He was an actor from Indiana,
That's cool,
actually,
Hugo.
and he's been my favorite actor since I was 15 or 16. I watched The Great Escape. So maybe someone of your age still remembers The Great Escape when it came
Yep.
out, right?
Because I'm old.
Uh,
Yep.
because you're old, and I'm getting there too, but you're older than me, so I knew you were not going to take offense. The Great Escape, Bullet, uh, Papillon, which is Butterfly with Dustin Hoffman. Um, that's just a card that I absolutely love, and because we are recording from an iPad, the quality is not great, but you can see stitches, so it was worn by Steve McQueen.
Yeah, no,
This
that's
card is
awesome.
numbered 5 out of 25. I would love to own an autograph of his, but it's absolutely out of my price range.
Yeah.
I would have to sell all of my sports card collection and maybe have to take some money off from my saving account. So that's the closest I'll ever get, and that's a card that I absolutely love.
That's awesome. Give the listeners the name of that set again because it's one worth looking up if people are curious. It's a different type of set and there's some really interesting stuff in there.
Yes, so it's from the 2008 Donruss Americana. So the subset is Hollywood Icons, and it's a celebrity cut.
Yeah, and at that point, Donruss, that was so Panini came into America by buying Donruss America in 2009. So that was Donruss was an independent company back then. They had no sports card licenses, so they were doing some really cool collegiate stuff and some pop culture stuff. It was really great. All right, well, I didn't
What do
see
you
that
got?
one coming. I thought I was going to be able to easily, maneuver my way out of there and counterpunch you, but I was taken back by the strength of that one. But my first move is going to be an on-card auto of the GOAT. So I have a 2014. This is a 2014 Topps 5-star. And you guys that don't follow my account, if you did, you'd be able to pick up pretty quickly that I started collecting in the 90s. I'm much more of a Topps fanboy than I am anything from the Upper Deck company. Not that I don't respect Upper Deck, but I definitely really prefer Topps. So when I was looking for a Tom Brady autograph, I reached out to a group chat I was in and really picked their brains on what was available from Topps. And the design of 5-star, it's consistent with what they did in baseball. It really looks great. There's like a gold foil to it, a marble background. He's in his white jersey with a nice bold blue autograph across the bottom half of it. Just a stunning card. I was able to trade for this, and I don't even know if it'll show up. I don't know if it matters. Whoop, whoop.
Right here. Yes.
By the way, in case you guys are wondering, Hugo's iPad camera follows him around the room. He had to get up when we first started recording, and it just started tracking him. So I can only imagine what scandalous stuff is saved on that iPad that you don't know about, buddy. But I was able to trade for this Brady auto, complete card for cards, right after probably about 2021, I think, from one of the bigger dealers in the area. So this is a card that will stay with me until my kids sell my collection or throw it in a dumpster when I pass away, hopefully many years from now. But my only Brady auto, they go for an extremely high amount of money, more than I would ever pay for a card. So to be able to trade for one was definitely a highlight of my collecting journey, and one that I know exactly where I was when I did the deal. It was a fun one to put together and everything. So that's my first counter move to you, my friend. What do you got next?
It's, if I may add something, it's a great gun. And I remember that it was not a conversation starter, but we talked about this card, you and I, because it really caught my eye. It's a beautiful card.
Yeah.
And you also have some great patches from the GOAT, Tom Brady. So you do have an excellent Tom Brady collection, if I may say.
If people are interested in getting Brady cards, his refractors have come down a lot, but his game used patches, just because there's so many of them, a football jersey just creates a lot, and Panini and Topps are using them. There's still three figures, the $100 to $200, but you can get some really good 3 and 4 color stitch patches for Brady, and some of the more common sets out there. So if anybody's looking to add some game used football stuff, there's not much anymore. So I would definitely recommend looking into some of the Brady stuff. But I digress. Go with your second one, my friend.
So great transition. There's not much game one football cards anymore. So it's a card that I mentioned last time I was on the PTTF podcast, and that's the biggest card that I've gotten this year in 2024. It's this card. It's a 2010 Topps Supreme Football. And as you can see, it's a nameplate, game one. That's the letter J for Andre Johnson. It is a one of one. Um, I'm a Texans fan, and I've been collecting Andre Johnson since probably COVID, so 2018, 2019, give or take. Very selective. I've been able to acquire a couple of one of his. Uh, it's not that easy to get such a big and significant card of one of your main PC players. So that's mainly or mostly the reason why my hobby year was a success. It's because of this card. The design is very simple. I know the guys at PTTF talked about how do you like that one of one on the card? Is it the cursive? Is it just the 1/1? Well, this one they did something else back then. It's just one, the number one of one. Uh, just the scarcity and just having a full letter makes that one very special and dear to my heart.
You come in you're coming heavy with that one. I knew that was going to come. I knew you were coming with the big guns on that one. And that's by far one of your favorite cards. And I love full nameplate letters. And that's first letter. I think it's a premium for sure. So you're hitting hard. You're hitting a little below the belt on that one. But I'm going to counter you also with game used 101. Sticking with a theme, we have a Topps game used 101. My favorite athlete of all time. I'm not saying he's the best. I'm not saying he's most beloved, but he was drafted when I was a senior in high school, and he played for 15 years, winning a championship with the Celtics before going on and extending his career with a few other teams, is the truth, our captain, Paul Pierce. And so I have a Topps Big Game 101 game used logo man patch, which on the back of these cards, they show you the source material. So this is a jersey logo man, which I think means something, right? We were talking in the group chat probably a while ago about MLB logo man and trying to, how do you discern if it's from the jersey versus like batting gloves, hat, even cleat tongue. There's a lot of logo men out there. Basketball, you've got shorts, you've got warm-up jackets. So to have one from a game used jersey from the peak of, me following the Celtics, they were hot garbage back then, but I still watched every game, or actually more often I was, commuting to and from grad school, so listening on the radio. But to have a Topps branded logo man of my all-time favorite player, game used, source material in the back, and this one actually has just printed in the same ink as the text in the back. It's the number 1/1 is the 101. So the least probably sexy of all the 101s. There's no foil to it or anything, but the focus really is on the selective swatch, which is that logo man. So I counter move you there, my friend, and have my own 101 game use patch. And I think we're kind of grappling pretty evenly here. So anything to say about that, or you come with your final move and trying to take me from the top rope?
It goes back to what we were saying earlier, right? Sometimes the main focus, the highlight of the card is the patch itself, right? I think we could argue that both cards, they don't have anything to rave about design wise, but the patches makes that card tell the story, and you're going to talk about it and why you love it and why is it so special. So that's a great example. And for those of you listeners, we didn't even plan, or we didn't even tell each other which cards we were going to select. So good job, Steve. Finally, this one is another con that I was able to get in 2024. It's a basketball con, and it's a Willie Cauley-Stein 2015 Panini Flawless
Can't be
rookie.
flawless.
This is game one. The patch is really nice. It's from the that's from the. Would you say that's the team name? Just team name, not the logo,
Yeah, I
right?
would.
But that
That
would
looks
be
like a team logo. But
yes.
say that
So
again, Hugo. That's rookie year game used patch card.
yes, yeah. Good luck getting those. And it's number 2 out of 25. It's the gold foil. Um, I know that, I mean, you and I, we talk about flawless quite a bit. And sometimes the foil doesn't do justice, or it doesn't really match with the card, and sometimes it can actually make the card less appealing. I'm okay with a gold. Silver would have worked probably better. But I think it's just overall a great card. It's uh, horizontal. Okay, for those of you who do not see the card as I show it, it's a vertical rookie card, and that's something that I've really grown to enjoy a lot more in 2024. Collect what you like. It's cheesy, it's corny, but it's also true when it comes to me. Willie Cauley-Stein is in my top three Kentucky players of all time. It's my top three, right? I would put him with Anthony Davis and Rajon Rondo, which I'm sure you've heard of, Steve, right? Rajon Rondo.
Yeah, once or twice. I think
Yeah,
he might even have had a small stint in the Celtics. I forget.
yeah, yeah. I think he was like maybe had a 2-way contract or something like that. But joke aside, Willie Cauley-Stein was part of that 2015 Kentucky team with Devin Booker, Karl Anthony Towns. We had Tyler Ulis, who's Canadian but went to high school in Indy, so that was another fun story to talk about. And they had such an amazing season. Went to the Final Four and defeated, and then they played against David beloved Wisconsin Badgers. They beat us. Season just came to an end, and ultimately Wisconsin lost in the final to Duke. So I know he's going to talk a lot of shit about it. I tell him every year, well, why don't you get a banner for beating us that year? But Willie Cauley-Stein was such an amazing player in college. Didn't have the career I would have loved for him to have, but just collecting his cards, grabbing a flawless rookie game one, makes it so much fun and so much better than maybe getting a card from Andre Johnson or Tony Parker that I would still like, but I may not have that sentimental value or memories that I didn't get with any other player or team.
Absolutely, it helps tell the story, right? And
Right.
and I think I think what you said there. First of all, I think people should hear that, right? You're telling a story, you're enjoying it, and you got that in. You were probably looking at the tracking every day when it was coming in, and you probably look at that card on a regular basis. And to most people, it has very little monetary value, but as a collector, it has a ton. Like that really should be why we do this, right? We disappear into our collection, we enjoy it. We enjoy putting them together. We maybe enjoy buying and selling them and getting other stuff. Like, there's many different ways, but in the end, you enjoy owning that, and just by owning it brings you enjoyment. So,
Yes.
And I think talking about flawless, this is a good chance to sort of clear some things up. I don't think not everybody realizes, but flawless basketball from the day it first hit the product line in 2012 up until now, every single relic in that product has been game used. Rookie year game used. It doesn't matter. No, football, not a chance. There was a lot of game used. I'd say probably up until 2018, they had a lot of game used stuff. But since then, they've gone to the unassociated or player one. Like, they'll have retired players come in for a photo shoot and put a bunch of jerseys on. And baseball's unlicensed. I have a few game used baseball patches from Flawless, but I don't know if I can't say that's everything. I don't know if it's just like backstock they have. But
let me take a quick look. I can tell you because I do have a flawless Andre Johnson. I think the last year that I was able to get for him. So that could change from one year, one player to another. But the
Yeah, it could be.
last one, last year of game one patches for this player, Andre Johnson, was 2019.
Yeah, okay. I was thinking
It's been
2018. So
5
around, but
years.
around there,
Yeah.
and I'm sure you're right. This time's probably flexed in or out, but it's
Yeah.
definitely changed in the football realm. But basketball, knock on wood, hopefully they keep it through until the end of their run next year or so, because it's definitely a huge selling point. All right, my final card, Hugo. We're amateurs at this, right? But watch how I bring this home, right? What Festivus, right? Festivus and Seinfeld and O'Brien. I gotta say, I was not ready for that first uppercut you sent me, the pop culture card. I thought a pop culture card might give me the edge in this wrestling match, but you showed me you've got some moves. But my next one is an on-screen relic of Mr. Jason Alexander, who plays George Costanza. This card is when he was the assistant to the traveling secretary for the Yankees, which is one of the roles he played as George Costanza. So the son of Frank Costanza, who introduced Festivus in the show. This is from National Treasures Baseball, and I'll talk a little bit about it. So it's a vertical card with a picture of George Costanza / Jason Alexander from the Yankees clubhouse holding a baseball bat with his front office suit on. The relic is there was an episode where the main characters were on a softball team, and this is you can find it online. I believe it was through Heritage. They sold Jason Alexander's jersey from that game. So it's a two pinstripe patch. It's out of 99. There's no prime versions or anything. But I'm a huge Seinfeld fan. I still, to this day, I'll if I'm stressed out or angry, I'll put an episode on. Or if I watch something on TV with my wife or something that was kind of jarring, whether it be news or a drama, I'll always end with an episode of Seinfeld just sort of calm the nerves. So having such a piece, and George Costanza, so Jason Alexander's character on this, is widely renowned as one of the best characters ever in sitcom history in the United States. Just the way he played it and the humor, and so just a really cool piece to own, but also brings home the whole Festivus theme we're doing today. So, like I said, we're pros at this, Hugo. We are pros at this. I don't think Brad and Dick are going to know what to do when they hear this feed. And we haven't talked. Are we going to let them out of the basement, or are we just going to drink their liquor and go home?
I mean, they've been bragging about that Pappy Van Winkle.
I'm not going to the National. Are you?
Jury is still out, but
all right. Well, I think Pappy shouldn't go to the National either. Maybe we should enjoy some Pappy instead of. I won't be in. I don't know, where is it? Chicago. I won't be in Chicago to enjoy it.
What we might do is take a look. Let's go downstairs, see where the bottle is. If it's pretty empty, we can assume that they sent all of their listeners for Secret Santa some sample. But if I'm not seeing that bottle almost empty, yeah, well, we're going to. I think what we should,
and while we're doing that, I'm going to put together a little loop of all the Danny Ainge sound clips that I can find, and we're just going to play that in the surround sound system downstairs to add to the torture. And we should probably free Danny Ainge from that. What should be a shrine? Maybe we'll reimagine the voodoo doll section there and put a little shrine to Danny Ainge.
I think we should, and we should also find all those Donovan Mitchell cards that are still around the house and send them to his arch nemesis.
Ross, you'll have a mail day coming. Yeah, and
it's that
we'll
time
send
of
some
the
of the stale licorice with you too.
Yes, that time of
all right, so. Hugo, the final wrap up is Festivus Miracles. And like I said, we're going to try and leave the listeners here with a little positive taste in their mouth after, I'm sure they're very jealous of the heat we flax. We went with some grievances. Couple of things that, should be common sense in this hobby that just can't get done that you would love to see happen in 2025. And I'll tell you right now, my main one is the damn release schedule. Like, it would be a Festivus flippin' miracle if these companies could just release the product on time that made sense, right? So not everybody wants to hear about WNBA collecting, but everybody knows who Caitlin Clark is. Not a single Caitlin Clark rookie card got released from any hobby product during her rookie campaign. They've all come after the season. And when I was sitting there watching the playoffs, and I watch a lot of neutral site games, and a player caught my attention, and I said, I'd like to grab a a card of that player. No, they're not available. So they saved me money. But if anything could happen in 2025, it would be to reset the release schedule, which of course isn't going to happen because Fanatics doesn't have licenses yet, and Panini's going out the door, and it's all going to be FUBAR. But come on, guys, release schedules. It's simple. You hit print, you package them up, and you ship them out. That's it. All right, Hugo, give me a Festivus miracle that you want to see come to fruition in 2025. Something that would take the edge off of your grumpiness.
It's easy. More game worn football cards. I'm dying for it. I'm lucky to collect basketball as well as football, but I know a lot of people who just stick to one sport, right? And if you are one of those guys who collect football, you're probably miserable right now, unless you collect quarterbacks and you're loving Select, Prism, Spectra, and whatnot. And I'm not taking any jab at those collectors because there's room for everybody. But the lack of game worn in products like Flawless, right? National Treasure, you can argue that National Treasure is not what it was one at some point, right? But I just want some game worn. That's what I like. And I'm just not sure what Fanatics is going to do if they keep putting those player worn or even authentic memorabilia, and the quality of the jersey they put in is the same as the quality of the jersey, t-shirt, sweater, hoodie you're going to get from them directly on their website. We are not going to have a great time collecting those patches.
No, patches might be a dying thing, at least in the short term, because they can put in the non-associated things that they. Now, let's remember that Fanatics also does all the production for Nike, so they can literally walk down to a warehouse, grab a jersey, cut it up, put it in a card, and that product's probably going to sell out through breakers. I mean, they really don't need to go and pay the hundreds to thousands of dollars of licensing fees or auction fees to get the game worn stuff, which I again, from the capitalism perspective, I understand, but from the collecting perspective, it's not great. So I agree with you on that one. And you know what else would be a Festivus miracle? If Chad and Ricky ever kick off at 9:45 on Thursday nights. But I'm also opening myself up to there because I wake up at 4:30 on Friday mornings during the school year. So I don't join as much as I used to, but every now and then I do stream those two beautiful faces as I'm falling asleep at night instead of watching Seinfeld. So maybe they'll get with a consistent release schedule for their live show, and that would be a Festivus miracle.
Maybe
Hugo, anything else? Any other miracles you want?
Maybe that could be their New Year resolution. Who knows?
Who knows?
New Year.
Knew them.
All
right, Hugo. I think we're at the end here. Is there anything you want to kind of bring to add to the end of the Festivus conversation we've had there, or just any general sign-offs, or let people know what you're up to that you want to end things with?
It was a blast to talk and host another episode with you. Again, second time I'm a co-host, and I wouldn't want to do it with anybody but you, Steve.
Thanks, buddy.
Didn't we have something to talk about? Or maybe I should say, you can follow me on Instagram at Nabrolian_PC. I think you mentioned something regarding Secret Santa, because we're getting ready for Secret Santa. Didn't you get someone a super cool PC edition, something like that?
Yeah. So I was hoping to get Ricky right in the Secret Santa, but I didn't. So I got him something, but it's I might have to send it to Tortian. It's a really great 101 of